Hello dear students, welcome to Axiomaticos. This video is the part of the solution series for CSIR NET June 2018 and we are doing this problem 76 of the section C. So it is a problem of linear algebra and also you can say that this problem is from functional analysis. Alright, so you can say that it is from both. Now let us have a look on the problem. Let V be an inner product space. So what is an IPS, inner product space? Inner product space is just a vector space with defined inner product on it. So if we are calling a vector space an inner product space, it means that there is an inner product which is defined for this vector space. So that is why we are calling it inner product space. S be any subset of V, alright? It's just a subset, it's not a subspace. Please focus. Let S bar denotes the closure of S. So it is the closure of S in V with respect to the topology induced by the metric given by the inner product. Which of the following statement are true? So you have these options. So this notation that we are given with is generally known as orthogonal complement. So firstly, what I will do, I will introduce the definition of orthogonal complement of a set of a subset of an inner product space. Then we will try to see some result, and using those results we are going to say which of the options are correct. Alright, so let us have a look on this definition of the orthogonal complement and the two results that we have written for you. So we are saying that if X is an inner product space and M is any subset of X, then M perpendicular, alright, so M perpendicular, that is the orthogonal complement of M, is defined by using this definition. Have a look on this definition and then we will see that how we can actually solve this problem. Alright, so it consists of those elements, from the inner product space such that the inner product of that element with every element from the M, from this M, will be 0. So this is called orthogonal complement. Alright, so have a look on this definition and then we will look at these results. Now see that if we have an inner product space and M is just the subset of this space X, then what will happen? M perpendicular will always be a closed subspace of X. Are you getting my point? So it doesn't matter what M you are choosing, it's just a subset. M perpendicular will always be a closed subspace. So this is a very important result. And the second one tells us that if you take this perpendicular twice, then what will happen? This will be equal to linear span of M and its closure. So this is what we have. So now let us move to your option number 1. Option 1 tells us that S is equal to S perpendicular. Now I am saying that consider S to be such that it is not a subspace. So it's just a subset that I am saying. So S, we are taking S subset of this vector space. What is S? S is just subset of the vector space. So you can always consider S such that it is not a subspace. You can do that. Yes, we can do. So now, can this happen that if S is not a subspace and S is equal to S perpendicular twice? No, because we know that, let us say this S perpendicular is something else. Let us say it is M. Alright. So this is equal to M perpendicular. Now what do we know? That M perpendicular is always a subset of X, is always a closed subspace of X. So on the right hand side we have subspace and on the left hand side we have subset, which is not a subspace. So do you think it can happen? No, it cannot happen because subspace cannot be equal to something which is not a subspace. So it means that first is incorrect. The same thing I will be doing with option 2. Alright. In the option 2, what they are saying that S closure will be S perpendicular twice S perpendicular. So what I will do? I will just choose a element. Let us say U is a element from the vector space which is non-zero. Now S I am choosing to be U. Alright. So we know that it is not a subspace because it is a non-zero element. So it will not be subspace because it is not closed. Now what will happen? S bar, because it is singleton, it will be U itself. So now S perpendicular is equal to S bar, which is equal to U. Now because this is not a subspace, so it is not possible at all. That means second option is incorrect. Now in the third one, they are saying that S perpendicular is equal to span of S closure. So this is exactly what we have written as a note, that linear span of M closure will be M perpendicular. Are you getting my point or not? So this is what is given in the third option. So third is directly true. Let us mark here. First incorrect, second incorrect, third is true. Now let us see the fourth one. Now, in order to understand this thing, we have two ways to solve it. So the first way is a set theoretic way, that what you do, I will write as an exercise here. Alright, so the first way is a set theoretic way. If you want, you can do it from here. Alright, this is the exercise. So in order to show that this result is true, what you have to do, firstly you have to choose an element from this, and then you have to show that if element is inside this, then it is also inside this triple perpendicular. And the second thing, the same way, other way, that if you have an element from this perpendicular, you have to show that it is inside S perpendicular. So from these two arguments, you can show that S perpendicular is S perpendicular. Are you getting my point? So this is what you can do in a set theoretic way. But in the exam, you can just feel it why it is true. So I am just helping you to understand why this will be true. Alright. Now try to understand this part. Using this note, we are going to show that this result is true. What do we know? That S perpendicular will be linear span of M closure. Alright, this is what we know. Now what I want to say here is that linear span of M, what is the meaning of this? It means that whatever elements S will have, you are going to take their linear combination. Alright, so let us say for example, let us say M is just a singleton set. Let us say, alright, so we should call it S instead of calling it M. Let us call it S. So let us say M is a singleton set. Alright, now what will happen? Linear span of S actually means that you are going to take its product with a scalar, where a scalar belong to the field given in the vector space. Alright, in the vector space you have a field, so linear span of S will be this. If it consists of two elements, what will happen? You have to take two scalars. Alright, you have to take two scalars. So what you will do, you will write beta v such that alpha beta belongs to field. This is the meaning of linear span that you know. Alright, so now let us say see this thing with this two, this set S is equal to UV. Let us try to see. Now linear span is this. Now it means that from here you are going to take closure of it, and you are saying that it is equal to S perpendicular. Alright, now if I add an element, I write S1 by just adding one more element to it. If I add one more element to it, alright, so I should not write W. Instead of writing W, I should write, let us say I add one more element, and I am writing this as U plus V. So now what will be this S perpendicular? Will it be equal to linear span of S1 closure? Try to think on this issue, that is it S perpendicular, is it equal to a linear span of S1 closure? This is closure, alright. So will it be? Yes, it will be, because see what you are doing, linear span of m, sorry, linear, yeah, I should have written s over here. Linear span of s and linear span of s1 will be same. Are you getting my point? Because actually what you are doing, you are spanning everything with these two elements. So adding an element which is dependent upon these previous two will have no impact. Are you getting my point? So same thing you can do. So if you have written here uv alpha u plus beta v also, then also let us say this is s2. Then this thing s perpendicular will also be equal to linear span of s2 closure. Are you getting my point or not? So it doesn't matter how many element you add, if they are dependent upon the previous two that you have initially taken, you will always have this property. Are you getting my point? So using this thing, what we can say is this. This is very important that we can say that if S is a subspace, then what will happen? You will have this result. S perpendicular is always going to be S closure. Are you getting my point? So this is what I was telling you, that if S is a subspace, then you will have this property. So second option is true if it is given to you that S is a subspace. Got it? So now keep this in mind. I am erasing it from here. Keep this thing in mind, that S perpendicular will be equal to S bar if S is a subspace. Let us erase. Now see, try to understand. What we have to show that it is equal to S perpendicular. Now try to see this thing, that if you are applying one more perpendicular, then what you are doing, you are applying perpendicular on linear span of S closure. Are you getting my point? So you are applying perpendicular on linear span of S closure. So what you have done here is this, that you have added more elements to it which are already dependent upon u and v. So it is something like this, that you have added more elements to this which are dependent on this. So the same thing that we did in the previous case, that this linear span of S can be replaced by a set which consists of all these elements, and also some new element which are already dependent upon the element previously in this set. So it means that, all right, it means, see, linear span of S is you know that it is a subspace always. We know that linear span of S is a subspace. So it means that if you will write S perpendicular instead of writing linear span S closure, you're going to have this thing. And what is this closure part? Why is this so important? Because we already know that M perpendicular is always closed, so we don't have to write this now. We know that it is closed, so it is already closed. So even if you write here closure, you will get S perpendicular again, because it is a closed subspace. So this is what I was telling you from the very beginning, that if you add more elements, you will have no impact. So if you add more element to it, you will get this thing. Getting my point? So this is what I wanted to show you, that fourth option is true. So third and fourth are the answer for this problem. This problem is little difficult to see if you have no previous experience of working with these perpendiculars. So I cannot explain more than this, but you have to remember these two results in order to check the correct option. All right. So fourth is true, third is true, and also the first and second part are incorrect. We showed everything. So 3 and 4 are the answer for this problem. If you have any doubt, you can always ask in the comment. And if you have any other problem, you can join our WhatsApp and Telegram groups. Links are given in the description part of the video. All right. So thank you.